Hola mi gente, over 2 million points in 11 months. I still can't believe it. It's insane. My goal to start the year in 2023 was 1 million points, and I hit that mark in May. Today I'm going to share with you all of the things that I did, how I earned the sign-up bonuses, which cards I used, 13 of them in total, what each required spend amount was, and how creatively I got to meet all that spend. And I'm also going to share with you guys today, I'm going to give you some tips and some recommendations on how you can meet those sign up bonuses yourselves on cards you're going to apply for in the future or cards you might have right now that you're trying to meet those spend requirements. If that sounds good to you, do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button and hit that subscribe button hard, all right? Because I'm going to give you more content, more information. It's a lot of information to go over today. You're going to see me bouncing up and down here looking at my notes because it's a lot of notes, all right? And there's a lot of numbers and stuff like that. But I'm going to give you everything you need to know to meet those spend requirements. And I'm actually, towards the end of the video, you're going to see what 2 million points is actually worth in terms of cash value and in terms of transfer partners that you transfer out to, which is usually what we all like to say is the most value you get when you're using these points and miles for vacations and so on. All right, so that's a lot to get into. Get comfortable. Let's dive in. Now, full disclosure, when I started December 2022, so about a year ago, I had only 2 cards that earned points and miles. In this case, they were miles. It was a JetBlue card and a United card that I used for my son to travel back and forth from school from Pittsburgh back to Newark. Total on both cards was 133,100 points that I had already earned. So the reason I'm doing this video today, and today is December 5th, is because I wanted to make sure all the points that I've earned to date, starting in January to now, totaled more than the 2 million points so that I can share with you and be honest that it was over 2 million. I'm not including the 133,000 of me getting to that mark, okay? So let's start this credit card frenzy. It started December 10th, 2022, when I applied for the American Express Platinum card. Now, back then, Platinum card offered 100,000 points with $6,000 spent over 6 months. Since then, American Express has increased the spending requirement to 8,000 in 6 months. So I had it for 6,000 in 6 months. That was in December 2022. I met that spend requirement by the end of January through business things that I had to do and travel that I had to get done. So I met that in January. The second card I applied to 10 days later was the World of Hyatt credit card. Now, the World of Hyatt is kind of slick in how they promote their points. They say it's 60,000 points, with their spend requirement. But in actuality, when I did it, it was 30,000 points up front after spending $3,000 in 3 months. Then they gave you the opportunity for an additional 3 months where everything was 2 cents per point up to $15,000. So there's your other 30,000 points. So I couldn't spend all that money on the card. So I only got 45,000 points on the World of Hyatt credit card after spending $3,000 in that time frame that they gave me. 2 weeks later, now we're in January of 2023, the American Express Gold card I applied to, I was able to secure 75,000 points with $4,000 spent in 6 months. Now, again, Amex just changed that from $4,000 to $6,000. But when I give you the tips later on in the video, you're going to see you're going to be able to hit that mark pretty easily. I promise you that. Next card, still in January 2023, this is 4 cards in 1 month, was the Hilton Honors card, the no annual fee card. I got 100,000 Hilton Honors points for $3,000 spent in 3 months. So that was kind of easy to hit. I also had a trip for a conference at a Hilton, so I did a lot of the spend there. So that was a pretty easy mark to hit. Now, 5th card, February. I got my first ever business card from American Express, which was the American Express Blue Business Plus card. Back then in February, the offer was 25,000 membership rewards points for spending $3,000 in 3 months. The next card was the next business card, and this time it was from Chase. I was trying to diversify the cards and not keep everything just in an Amex ecosystem. And I got the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited card, which was offering a high back then of 90,000 points. Right now in December 5th, as I record this, they're at 90,000 again. But this was 90,000 points for 6,000 spend in 3 months. I was able to meet that spend pretty quickly because I use it as a down payment. I put $5,800 towards a down payment for my wife's car. So the spend was pretty easy and it was convenient because there was no interest on that card for the year. So that was an easy spend to hit. The next card was another Chase card, but this time on the personal side. I didn't have any Chase personal cards whatsoever. I don't have the Freedom Flex. I don't have the Freedom Unlimited, but I was able to secure the Chase Sapphire Preferred card in branch. Back then in the spring, they had a special in branch offer that was better than the offers you were finding online. So it was 80,000 points plus an additional 10,000 points if you spent the 4,000 in 3 months. But in order to get the other 10,000 points, you had to spend an additional $2,000 in an additional 3 months. So that was pretty easy just by adding different things that I do on a monthly spend anyway. So I was able to get 90,000 ultimate rewards points from Chase just on that. So if you notice, in the first 7 cards I've rattled off, I'm already well past about 500,000 points. Okay. Now, the next card. This was the hardest card to apply to. And I'm going to give you a heads up. It's not just even on this being a business card, but the application process was such a pain for the amount of points that I got. The only thing good about this card that I'm going to mention is the status that it gives you, and that's the Wyndham Rewards Business Earners card. I applied for this card in February. It took almost 2 months because I got approved in April. And the Wyndham Earners Business Card gives you their highest status at Wyndham Properties. And I got 45,000 points for $2,000 spend, which is low, in 3 months. But the application process was brutal. But again, the status that comes with the card was great. 45,000 points for 2,000 spend in 3 months. The next card, another business card. This one from the Marriott Bonvoy Business by American Express. Chase has their own cards. This is American Express's business card for Marriott. And for this Marriott card, back in April, I got 125,000 points for $5,000 spend in 3 months. This came in handy when I was purchasing this new camera and other equipment that I was getting and so on. So I was able to meet the spend requirements for this card pretty easily as well. And that was back in April for 125,000 Marriott Bonvoy points. Then had a little bit of a break, and I got in for about 3 weeks. And in June, I applied for the Chase Inc. Business Cash Card. Now that one, I did not get the highest offer possible. It was 75,000 ultimate rewards points for $6,000 spent in 3 months. The next card, which comes in at number 11, is the American Express Business Gold Card. Now, this one was 100,000 points that they offered me for $10,000 spent. Now, normally Amex Business Gold, you have to meet the spend requirement for that business card in 3 months. But looking through incognito modes, I was able to find an offer that for the 100,000 points, spending 10,000 in 6 months. So it gave me twice the amount of time to meet that spend requirement. And God knows I needed it because, as you can see, what I've been rattling off, it's just been insane. So this was 100,000 points for 10,000 spent in 6 months. Shortly thereafter, I applied for the Chase Inc. Business Preferred card, which came in at 100,000 ultimate rewards points with 8,000 spent in 3 months. Now, what was good about the preferred for this one is earlier in the year, they wanted $15,000 spent in the 3 months, which I would have never been able to achieve. So they cut it almost in half to 8,000. And in some other videos that you may have seen in the last month or so, The bulk of that spend, as well as the Amex Business Gold, was for an air conditioner unit that I needed to replace in my home in Florida. And that took up the majority of the spend on that card. Then the 13th card where I'm earning points or miles was the United Mileage Plus business card. Now, when I initially signed up for this card, the offer was 50,000 miles for 5,000 spent in 3 months. Now, when I got the card delivered, I saw that they were offering now 75,000 miles for the same spend. I called Chase. I asked them to review my account. They offered me and gave me the 75,000 to match the newer offer for the same $5,000 spent in the 3 months. So over the 13 cards that I just rattled off, and the reason that I'm going quickly through them, it's not a deep dive into the cards, is because it's just a lot of information that I'm giving you. And I want to tell you the spend requirements, the cards that they were, and the time frame that they give you. Now, in between those 13, I also applied for and received the Discover It card that I applied for in June and the Amazon Business Prime card that I got in July. But because they're cashback cards and they don't transfer to points or miles, I didn't use them in the lineup that I just gave you. So I had 15 cards since January that I've applied for, 13 of which were basically more points and miles based. Now, here's the breakdown of the points by currency. And by currency, I mean the American Express ecosystem, the Chase ecosystem. Then you have each hotel that has their own points and airlines that have their miles, okay? So that's how we're kind of going over it. So what American Express does, and Chase to some extent, because you can roll in your points through the Sapphire preferred cards, to use in their portal. Amex does the same thing. They pool all the points from any American Express cards, especially their charge cards, and in this case also the Blue Business Plus card, and they just total them for you in one lump sum. So starting with that, since January 2023 to November 30th, which is when I got this final breakdown, I collected 623,082 points, membership rewards points from American Express. 623,082 just from Amex. And for those, it's the Platinum, the Gold Business, and the Blue Business Plus card. Now for Chase, the only Chase personal card that I have that collects ultimate rewards points is the Chase Sapphire Preferred. On the business side, I have the Ink Unlimited, the Ink Cash, and the Ink Preferred. Just with Chase alone, ultimate reward points, 558,393 ultimate rewards points. So as you can see, just from Amex and Chase in their ecosystems, I'm at over 1.2 million points just for their membership or ultimate rewards points. Next up, the Marriott Bonvoy business card. Between stays that I had and between spend on the card and the sign-up bonus, 230,358 Marriott Bonvoy points. With the World of Hyatt, now this one I didn't really use a lot after I met the spend requirement because I also knew I wasn't going to stay at Hyatt, so I didn't put a lot of emphasis on this card. But the total was for this year 71,284 points for the World of Hyatt. Now, the Hilton Honors American Express card, their basic, no annual fee card with the sign-up bonus and with hotel stays. Their multipliers are really high in their hotel stays. 243,666 Hilton Honors points. Wyndham, which if you recall when I said a little earlier, even though they were a real pain in the neck to get me approved for their card and just give me 45,000 points, when I went to use that card in Europe with their stays and with the upgrades, their multipliers were out of this world. And so far on Wyndham, I have 154,064 points. 154,064 points. That's for the Wyndham Business Earners card. Now, You saw I also applied for the United Mileage Plus business card. I have the personal card. They also combine the points. So right now with United, I have 131,320 miles. With JetBlue, I did do some flying on JetBlue as well as United. And JetBlue comes in at 187,964 miles. And last but not least, Best Western, didn't use it, but the points don't expire, but it's still hanging in there at 18,130 points. So total to begin the month of December, 2,218,261. 2,218,261. All right here for you to see. It's mind-blowing for me. And believe it or not, and I had to make a note here and highlight it in red, my FICO score, because people would tell me as I was doing this, your credit score just has to be in the toilet. 830 FICO score as of 12/3, so 2 days ago, okay? So 830 FICO score, not bad for opening up all these cards, all those inquiries, and all that spend. Now, how much did I spend to get all those points and miles? Took me a while to figure it out, but just on the minimum spend requirements, not any additional money I spent on the cards, but just to get to the point of earning the sign-up bonuses, $65,000 to meet the spend. 65,000, okay? That's someone's salary for the year. But as you can see, this is where if you're applying for a card right now, or if you're working on meeting a spend requirement, I'm gonna go over how I met that spend requirement without me putting out extra to meet those spend requirements. Remember, we never want you to spend extra or to, manufacture spend to get a bonus. It should be from stuff that you need or that you normally spend on. So here is some of the breakdown, okay? So I spent over $10,000 to pay my New Jersey state property taxes. Plus, my sister was kind enough to allow me to pay her property taxes for New Jersey, which came in at $15,000. Plus, you do get fees. I think it's 2.85%. But to get the total of points that I got, it's worth just getting those one-time fees because I'm not going to do this again, obviously. But between those two amounts, that's $25,000 just to pay property taxes that I put on the cards to meet the spends. So almost, a little bit more than a third of getting there for this to meet the spend. Then I had my Florida home property taxes. That was $3,500. The home insurance for my Florida home was $600. Remember, you could also and it's a pain that you have to juggle and maneuver things, but when you want to meet spend requirements, you do what you got to do. So that was a huge chunk, $600. One of the biggest expenditures I've had this year that I mentioned before in the video was almost $8,000 to install a new central AC unit at my home in Florida. I broke that up over two cards, over the American Express Business Gold card and the Chase Inc. Preferred card. So that made up the majority of that spend requirements on those cards because that was $8,000. As I stated earlier, $6,000, almost $6,000 went to a down payment for a car on the Chase Inc. Unlimited business card. Now, here's where, for those of you at home that don't have the giant spend, this is where you can do things on your own that you're going to pay for anyway and use them to meet the spend requirements on these cards or on any card that you're working on right now. First things first, the light and gas. So here in New Jersey, it's PSE&G. So far, I'm at what they have a monthly billing plan, so they kind of just even out the payments, so it's kind of easy for me to figure out. At $350 a month, I did it for 10 months. That's $3,500 just for light and gas. So if you look at it, a lot of your cards that might have a spend of $2,000, $3,000, if you even prepay it which is what I did in a lot of instances. I prepaid the bill, and actually now I have a credit for the month of December and part of January because I overpaid them. But you can overpay your light and gas bill to meet the spend requirement. Also, my home in Florida has a homeowners association that totals $3,200 a year. So if you break it down for the last 10 months or so, it's over $300. So those are things that I would have to pay for anyway, but that helped me meet the spend requirements on a lot of the cards that I have. Also, my car insurance, 3 cars, New Jersey car insurance is insane, but 3 cars comes out to $3,400 a year with Geico. Again, if you break that up, over $320 or so a month. So by putting that, you're able to meet the spend requirements pretty quickly on a lot of the cards that you're going to be applying for. Remember, the higher cards with the highest levels are going to be your platinums or your business cards that are at the high end. But for the most part, as you see, just on light, homeowners association, car insurance, things like that, or your taxes, you'll meet the spend requirement pretty quickly. Here's another one, cable and internet. $2,600 to watch 4 channels out of 300 on Fios and for my internet. So $2,600 a year. Again, break that down. You're looking at about $200 and something a month that we're going to do anyway. Put it, get the spend requirement, make sure you pay off that bill. Now, a few other big chunks that basically help me with the hotel requirements and then add and pad to these hotel spending requirements was vacation to Europe was over $7,000. Business expenses, a brand new MacBook Pro, mics, lighting, stands, you name it, right? That was so equipment, lighting, new camera, accessories, business conferences, educational conferences, car rentals, hotels, and flights, another $5,000. Dining out and groceries for the year. I've said this in other videos before. That's where the American Express Gold Card is the gold standard. 4 times every dollar I spend in dining out and groceries. I spent over $10,000 so far. Times 4 is 40,000 membership rewards points. Okay, so you get where I'm going with this, guys. Not only do you meet the spend requirements, but then you can continue to pad on. And then if they throw a special like they did on the Amex Gold in June, that they'll give you 9 times because they give you an additional 5 times for grocery spending. You know, it just adds up and totals up to huge numbers, as you can see what I've done so far. Now, on this one, you might make some people uncomfortable to do, but in the points and miles games, you're going to do what you're going to do. When you go out to dinner, I was out to dinner a week ago, 15 of us, I put down my card first. Not only was I able to get the points from the Amex Gold, but I was also signed up with the Marriott Bonvoy, and I think I have it with Hilton as well, where they give you extra points for eating at certain restaurants with cards that you have registered. And I was able to get additional points just for going to those particular restaurants. I didn't even know that I was at that restaurant, that was part of the program. I just happened to go there. And then I got a pop-up quickly on my email that I use one of the offers, okay? So what I do is I pay for the group dinners, and then people Zelle me or Venmo me right on the spot, or a Cash App. Bam, they hit you up. They don't have to deal with the headache of paying that bill. It was on me to make sure I paid that $1,000 or more dinner, but times 4 is 4,000 points. So you get where I'm going with this, right? Also, I paid in advance for family members' flights for our vacations that we've taken and other trips. Plus, and this was huge, authorized users on the credit cards. I have several authorized users on my American Express Platinum, and obviously I use them for their lounge access and other perks for my family members to get status at different hotels and so on. I'm going to see how that's going to work this year because, as we all know, it went from 3 authorized users at $175 total to $195 each. But that's a story for another day. But the authorized users, whatever they spend, you get their points. So I have authorized users on my Platinum card, my Sapphire card. Then I have 2 employee users on other cards that I have for American Express Gold and actually Marriott Bonvoy. Now, another one that people, and I'm not getting sponsored by this at all, is Rakuten. I use Rakuten all of the time. And Rakuten gives you the opportunity to either get cash back or to change it into membership rewards points with American Express. That's what I've done. God knows I've hit it hard the last month and a half or so. Rakuten is a huge way to earn points that you don't have to put money out of your pocket for. Okay? I also put rent, family members' rent, that I paid that fee to make sure I met that spend. But that's other things you could put on your card. Now, if you have the Bilt card, the Bilt Rewards card, you're ahead of the game. I don't have that because I don't pay rent myself. But that would be a great way to earn points on your Bilt card. I also received, American Express caps you at the number of points a year that you can get on referrals for their cards. Now, the referral system is I could have one of the cards, but I could refer out to anybody, any card on their lineup. But I maxed out their 100,000 extra membership rewards points in spring just by giving people my referral links, mostly for the gold and the platinum cards. I also got 140,000 ultimate rewards points from Chase referrals for the Sapphire Preferred and for the Ink Business cards. And actually, Chase tends to be a little bit more giving in terms of those points because they were offering at some point up to 200,000 ultimate rewards points on referrals, which is huge. Okay, figure at 2 cents per point, 200,000 points is a heck of a lot that you're going to get back in return. You're looking at about $4,000 just for that. Okay, now what is the total cash value or for over 2 million points? And people always tell me, is it like, $500,000? I wish. Nowhere near that. When I tell you the number, you're going to be like, damn, I can't believe that that's what it is. However, you're going to see when I give you the other number, you're going to be like, wow, that's worth it. So what I did was to get the cash value, and it's not an exact science because everybody has their own way of assigning points or to these currencies. Some people say membership rewards point is worth 2 cents per point. Somebody else might say 1.85. Somebody else might say 2.25. So what I did was I went to the biggest groups out there, which would be Award Wallet, The Points Guy, Nerd Wallet, and other forums and just other creators out there to get an idea of what their valuations were on points. And this is what I came up with. An average for over 2 million points, on average, if I was to use it as a cash value, if I was able to cash that out, it comes out to $35,000. So $35,000 across all my cards, across all of the different currencies. Now you're saying, wow, 35,000, that's it? I thought it was going to be a lot higher, at least 50,000. But here's the thing. $35,000 that I gained because I put the spend on things I was going to spend anyway. Had I put that spend on a debit card, guess what? I would have $0. So I have $35,000 just by doing this spend anyway across all the cards. Now, if you have transfer partner values, points and miles, if you value them at 3 cents per point, in other words, if I'm able to transfer, let's say, my 100,000 membership rewards points into a trip to Europe, including the flights, when that's normally where you get your best bang for your buck on a business class or a first class flight, international, or transferring them out to other partners that have elevated offers at that point, 3 cents per point gives me $105,000 worth of travel. If you do 4 cents per point, you get $140,000 worth of travel. It's crazy. $140,000 if you get it at the 4 cents per point. So again, this is not an exact science, but you're looking at a low of $35,000 to a high of $140,000 worth of travel. Now, do I recommend that you guys out there go full throttle and in less than a year do what I just did? Not really. People say what I'm going to say right now, and when I used to hear them say it, I was like, yeah, right. But it's the honest to God truth. I did this for two reasons. So I can prove to myself that it was doable, and so that you don't have to, and you can pick and choose the route that you're going to take to get to the point that you're comfortable with. Okay? Because when I tell you, it's a lot of work to juggle so many cards, to move expenses each month from card to card, to make sure that I can meet and maximize the spend requirements. It's not easy, because this month I got to go, oh my God, I still have the Geico bill on that card, but I have to meet this card. And then you have to go in and change things and take things off of automatic payments and so on and so forth. It's a lot of work, but it worked out for me. Okay? But again, you might be in a different situation where your work life doesn't allow you to have the time to do it. I have the time, thank God. So how do I keep track of all this stuff? I'm not getting sponsored for this, guys, but I do use Max Rewards, which puts all the cards in one place, show me what I need to spend to meet the spend requirements, how much of a balance I have, how many bonus points, what benefits out there, what offers, and so on, and also card pointers. That helps me keep track of all my cards and the spend requirements on each card. Now, to be real honest, it's exhausting and stressful. I'm taking a break. Today's the 5th. I'm looking down, it's the 5th of December. I'm taking a break from applying for new cards until spring, because it's just a lot, all right? And it kind of can take you over, especially when you're doing 3 or 4 cards at one time. The last 3 months, I spent $23,000 for 3 cards, which is insane. So I'm going to take a break, and I'm probably going to do a product change from the Chase Sapphire Preferred to the Reserve, because you can only hold 1 Sapphire card. I want to see how it is to get into those Chase lounges. I want to see what other benefits, and I'm hoping Chase actually increases what their offers are on the Chase Sapphire Reserve to differentiate a little bit better from the Preferred. And the Hilton Aspire card. I actually got an offer for the Hilton Aspire card and the Surpass card, but I wasn't eligible because I have too many Amex cards. So when I called them, they said you're going to either have to drop one of the cards or product change. So I'm going to cross that bridge when I get to it. But those are the 2 cards that I'm going to hit up next in the spring. So watch out for those. But in the meantime, I hope that I've shown you and given you real life experiences. I'm not reading stuff off a script that I just Googled to see how many points this is worth or how that works. I did this in the last 11 months. So I'm hoping that by showing you my real life experiences, you learn how to use your cards and realize their maximum potential. I hope that, it makes you motivated and you get creative. And just remember, stay organized, and you can do this. And I know for a fact that if you do what I just told you, you really can get from 500,000 to 1 million points by next year. I have no doubt about that, especially if you know at the right time of the year to apply, because, the offers change from time to time. So just know when to apply. If you ever have any questions, do me a favor. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you would like for me to review, what you would like for me to go over. If there's something that I missed, if you have comments or done what I've done, I would love to know that, because that's how you feed me to be able to just energize me to do these videos. So, mi gente, as always, I thank you for watching, and I thank you for giving me the privilege of your time. Until next time.